At the end of it, I don't want to go because these things are all, the tapes are available, the records are there. In fact, only about 2 weeks ago I saw a set of the records again. The transcripts are available. But we talked about the Nigerian situation, and certainly at the end, everybody says, oh, you told them this, you did that. The fact was that our case was so clear that I actually believe at the end of Aburi that the problem was not Gowon, but probably some ambassadors in Lagos who were pressing for something else. Because we understood each other. We agreed on every single point. The drafting was, in fact, my chief secretary with 2 other chief secretaries from the other side. They said, no. And drafted and agreed. We looked at it, we agreed. General Ankara read over the whole report again to us at the end. Asked us if we wanted to amend anything. No. At the end of all that, the position was so good that actually Ankara drove Jack Gowon and myself to the airport. Jack was sitting on his left, I was sitting on his right. He was in the middle. And in the course of that journey, at a point, General Ankara shook his head and said, oh, thank you. Thank you. If only we can go on like this, everything would be all right. I believe I was the one. As I do now from time to time, I go for the dramatic. Suddenly I picked up Gowon's hand, put it on Ankara's lap, brought my other hand, placed it on it, and I said, General Sir, hold us together, I want to say something. So General Ankara put his hand on top of the 2 hands, and I said, General, I want to assure you that I am totally satisfied with everything we said. I will even go further and say to you something I did not say at the conference, and that is that once we have implemented everything we have said, I would ask you for one favor and one favor only. And that would be to be the one to propose Jack Gowon as a head of state of Nigeria.
It was a 2-day conference of peers and old mates, but its aftermath produced even further controversy.
When we came back, and Ojukwu did not go to make the statement he made first, virtually giving the impression that we've agreed for a confederation to move apart, etc., which was really not in exactly that. If I had had the opportunity to make my broadcast in a first, because that was the agreement, not for him to make the broadcast first, then if I had committed myself to what he said, then there wouldn't have been any problem. But he went and said certain things that certainly looked wrong, and therefore we saw in practically everything he did, I think it was for to play up to the gallery, not being sincere.
At Aburi, yes, we agreed on area commands for the armed forces. At Aburi, we agreed that the police force would be decentralized. We agreed on those. Yes. We agreed even to show that we didn't separate. At Aburi, we also agreed on a certain revenue formula. That's what happened at Aburi. Aburi again, because I always end up, it sounds odd today, but I always end up by saying I must have been naive, because I believed actually that would be the end. I'll confess to you, when I got back to Enugu, oh yes, I had a party believing that probably the danger was over. That's what we thought. Until they then began to deny everything. It was the denial of Nigeria that made me publish the tapes of Aburi, because we had insisted that each one should have a set of tapes. Everybody talks about Confederation. Go and look at the transcript. There is no time that the word Confederation came from my lips.
In broad terms, Aburi changed the title of head of state from Supreme Military Commander to Commander-in-Chief. It gave the regions control over internal affairs, and concurrence of each region was now required for any decision affecting the whole country.